You're listening to DraftKings Network.
Smirnoff knows there's no I in football. Football is a we thing, an experience that is best enjoyed together with good drinks and good people. Smirnoff is the world's #1 vodka and is an official vodka partner of the NFL. And this year, Smirnoff is giving fans in select areas of the country a chance to win the ultimate game day experience. From tickets to sideline passes and much more, just head to WeDoGameDays.com until November 15, 2024 to enter for your chance to win. That's WeDoGameDays.com. Smirnoff, we do game days.
Please drink responsibly. Smirnoff number 21 vodka, distilled from grain, 40% alcohol by volume. The Smirnoff Company, New York, New York. Please do not share with anyone under legal drinking age. No purchase necessary. 21 plus. Ends November 15, 2024. See rules at website for participating area and other important details. Sponsored by Diageo Americas Inc., New York, New York.
Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. If you're a smoker or dipper looking to make a change, you really only need one reason to do it. But with Zyn nicotine pouches, you can find many. Zyn is America's #1 nicotine pouch. It's made with only 6 simple ingredients. There are lots of options when it comes to nicotine satisfaction, but there's only one Zyn. Learn more about Zyn and find your reason to make a change by registering online at Zyn.com.
Shadow Show.
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 Shadowing it.
Shadowing it.
Caviar Boy, how are you feeling about how your executive producing of the Shadow Show is going?
You know, we like to keep the audience guessing. Some days it's on video, some days there's an open, some days the mics just go on. Yin, as my dad would say.
You never know.
You never know.
Did you get bad feedback on the leaking sounds that we did? A lot of people evidently, you know how sometimes on Netflix they tell you this movie might give certain people problems with the lights and whatnot? I think the dripping sound we did has an effect on certain people. Yeah, don't do that. I think that has an effect on certain people that is stronger than it is on other people. You know what I'm talking about? The Netflix, the thing is it just Netflix or is it a bunch of others?
I think every streaming service has, like, if there's a show that has a lot of like flashing lights and stuff, there's trigger warnings for people that have certain issues. Yeah.
Okay, so I think the dripping is causing some issues among a select few. I just saw the complaints that were rabid. I'm always a little alarmed.
Yeah, but how many people complained? I mean,
okay, well, you're not aware of any of the complaining.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
You don't pay
right?
attention to any of it.
I'm
so
just signing coloring books over here.
That's all you're doing. Yeah. That's correct. Thank you for finally getting around to that. Today is the very last day.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you're finally getting to these things that have been sold.
We're making some money off of this, or no?
I don't know who's making money off this. I think I was told yesterday. Bimmel said that we're not making any money off of the Stugotz book, the Ron McGill book, or the Greg Cody book.
Okay.
So
why would he make money off of my book? I mean, or any of those books? Why would Bimmel make money off of those books?
He's a Meadowlark.
Get out of my pockets, Bimmel. I mean,
the thing that I was saying is that I don't believe that you are taking any inventory, Chris, of the fact that there are some people out there that the dripping sound gets to them a little more than other people. And generally, when I hear from somebody on something like that, the comment, "I've been with you for 20 years and this is it."
If that's the line, how strong was our relationship really?
No, but if it's a 20-year relationship, this is why I'm not putting it on the listener. I'm going to put that one on us and say we are underestimating what the dripping sound is doing to certain segments of the population if they're willing to escalate to that level of threat. Over something like this, I'm going to guess that there is a strong relationship there, and there's a very bad relationship with dripping water.
I'm going to deflect here. The first time you guys did the dripping thing, Roy was in this seat.
Oh, what?
That is true. Well, that is true. You're saying what, but he's not. It's a factual statement he's making.
Listen, I just follow orders. That's all I do. All right? Yep. I was told to play the drip noise. I played it. I tried to stop. I was told to play it again.
Yeah.
It is possible that somebody, you've heard of Chinese water torture. It is possible that some people in our audience have had some really bad experiences with water.
I was going to bring that up, but I didn't know where we were, like, as far as Chinese water torture. I didn't know if that was something we could do. So I was
so you don't
can't do it.
But
Water-
you think a lot of people
water torture.
in our audience have experienced that?
I don't think that. Well, I'm with Tony
we're
on
catering to a few.
Tony, are you asked? Well, this is one who threatened to quit after 20 years, and it seemed like an escalation that I was not prepared for. Tony, you were afraid that you can't say Chinese anymore?
Yeah, because I felt like if I would have come out and say it sounds like Chinese water torture, then the walls would have fallen down, and I would have been like, oh, what am I doing here? Yeah.
Okay.
But luckily you said it, so
that's playing a little more scared than you need to, I think. Although I understand why it is that
I said bum the other day, and people had a heart attack. I mean, what do you want me to do?
I don't believe there were any heart attacks. There's not been either. This is hyperbole. There's been neither Chinese water torture around here or any actual heart attacks. But I will say
that you know of.
That I know of.
Right.
Correct.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you, Stugotz.
You got it.
But I do believe that I speak correctly when I say that you don't have to necessarily be afraid of that. But I do understand why people on the right are tired of being told how it is to talk about every little thing because they don't want the left deciding how everybody talks about things. So I do understand why it is you would like to live a life without fear of offending anybody. But that is not the world we live in anymore.
All right, so Chinese water torture is back, Dan.
Although
Perfect.
maybe it is the world we're about to live in again. I think that this is going to make a strong movement toward the, I'm going to call it the right, even though I think it's the wrong.
Always comes back to politics with you, left
does.
and right.
It does.
Yeah.
That is right. I'm always going to insert it in the show. I haven't talked about it for a couple of days. And you know what else you've gotten relief from? Sports media talk. Haven't heard any of you complaining about that lately.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.
Today's episode is sponsored by DraftKings. Stay tuned because you'll hear more about DraftKings and all it has to offer throughout the show. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
I have not been that stunned at the end of a Heat game since Derek White.
Amazing.
Just confused and rattled and totally unexpected. But before we get to that, I would like to continue a conversation that we started yesterday because I want some genuine help from the group on something. Jeremy came in here today. Apparently he's off his strike. Kind of hoping he goes back on it. He came in here today saying that he was mortified and saddened by our Dolphin conversation yesterday. And the thing that I wanted to ask you guys, and this is a sincere request.
It was your portion of it, right? I mean,
I don't know which part. We'll find out shortly, I assume.
Really?
I don't know. But
how about worry about how much the Heat suck if I'm Jeremy?
Yep.
Okay. Yes, I imagine
fair point.
that he will have a certain spin on that before we're done here. But the thing that I wanted to address with you guys, that I want some help with, some genuine help. I don't know if Roy's going to be able to help me here.
Thanks, Dan.
Well, you tell me. I just don't think of you as generally hopeful. I don't think of if I were to have an assortment of adjectives to describe you, hopeful would not be top of my list.
All right. People who are pessimists and there are people who are optimists. Yeah. I'm a realist. I see things for what they are.
Down the middle, Roy.
Yep.
You gave two options, though, and you put yourself in a third option that you didn't give.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm by myself in this situation.
He did think Kamala was going to win.
I did.
Okay.
Well, I was hopeful in that situation, actually.
Again, though, what I need help from the group on is I would like for you guys to help me be more hopeful because yesterday I began with the Mark Twain quote of
again.
Better to be an optimist who's occasionally wrong than a pessimist who is always right. And it has given me no joy to be a pessimist about the Dolphins who is always right. But yesterday it was me and Jessica alone shouting down the group on the Miami Dolphins because the Miami Dolphins happened to win the only game played on Monday night. And I want to ask the group here, as I also ask you to help me be more hopeful. Do you want to know the only other team in the sport that has a 3-6 record? There's only one.
Yeah, I'd like to know.
I can already tell where this is going. It's going to be a bad team.
Are we trying to be optimistic here with this?
I'm going to ask
Let's
for
hear
your.
'em out.
I'm going to ask for your help here. I'm going to present a set of facts to you and ask you to help me be hopeful here, because the only other team with a 3-6 record is the Cowboys.
Oh yeah, but their quarterback is hurt. I mean, yeah.
Agreed, and you will find ways to help me, hopefully, be more hopeful here. But they're worse than the Bears. They're worse record-wise than the Colts. And I believe in what Bill Parcells says, which is when you're 9 games in, you're what your record says you are, not what's the remaining schedule, not what was the schedule before. You are what your record says you are, not who was injured, not anything else. The thing that I want to address with you guys, because I do understand that the reason the Cowboys and Dolphins would be different is that Tua coming back healthy is different than Dak not coming back at all. When Cooper Rush, I think he had, was it like 24 attempts for 40 yards or something ridiculous like that? Didn't he have like 2 yards per attempt in that Dallas Cowboys game? Something just really asinine that seems hard to imagine.
I feel like you're handpicking times when you want to use Parcells to help, bolster your argument, because you've been making fun of Parcells for nearly 20 years.
It doesn't mean he doesn't know anything. It just means that I occasionally question the wisdom of a man who would walk on the treadmill at the facility while eating a Dove bar.
Classic tuna. I mean,
Cooper Rush had 13 completions for 45 yards.
Oh, wow.
No, how many attempts, though, for 45?
23.
But the sun, Dan, you would have had a touchdown if not for the sun.
Yeah, he was blinded. Yeah.
2 yards per attempt is what we were doing there. The question I guess I'm asking you guys, because they've got the Dolphins also have a very bad point differential on top of that. Like it's them and the Jets, there's not a lot of difference. When I tell you, though, Stugotz, that the Colts and the Bears have a better record than the Dolphins, when I tell you that, you think what?
Well, I think that the Dolphins, I understand what you're saying, and we're not saying there's like this great amount of hope here. We're just saying that there's hope, and that's what fans look for. When you say that to me, yeah, I realize what the Dolphins are. They're 3 games below 500, but their quarterback is back, and he's healthy, and they're a better team when that guy is playing for them.
Agreed, but you're not going to win against the Chargers, Chiefs, and Baltimore and Buffalo on the road. Like you're just,
I mean, they almost beat Buffalo on the road.
They almost beat Buffalo a bunch of times while always losing to Buffalo over the last 14 games.
Right.
Like the thing that you guys keep doing with this, like you tell me the schedule is easy going forward. And I'm like, do you know who 2/3 of their losses are against? I'm sorry. Do you know who 2/3 of their wins are against? It's Patriots and Jacksonville. Those are terrible teams. You beat the Rams, who everybody would shrug about, and you're like, we're back, baby. When you still got the thing of, they can't beat anybody who's good. You've had that since McDaniel's been here. They cannot beat anyone who's good.
Is this you being positive?
Help me.
I mean, well,
It's impossible.
I don't think
you
I
don't
can.
want to be.
Right.
Seems like you're being a realist.
I think you're past help.
Let's just talk about something else.
Help me. What's the argument on the other side?
I don't think you'll accept it.
That there's more to there's more to a season than winning the Super Bowl. We haven't won a playoff game in 24 years. Just get me that 7 seed, get me in a close game against the Chargers, and that I can find some positive in that. It's not all about, yes, I agree. No one's arguing here that the Dolphins are not a Super Bowl contender. But that doesn't mean that they can't get back to 5 and 6, 2 easy games, win a few more, and get in the playoffs and just have some fun in the playoffs.
Put it on the poll, please, Juju. Do 3 and 6 teams have easy games at Le Batard Show?
Got a couple ones coming up, but I think the most important thing to be positive about this season, Dan, is we saw Tua have another concussion, scary event on national television, but he's back now, and he's playing well, even leading with his helmet on some tackles. You know, you want to see your quarterback out there making tackles on a pick. But I think it's McDaniel and Tua. We know that this combination works. We know Tyreek Hill works with this system. We know that Jalen Waddle, even though he got a massive contract, who's kind of disappeared, he's got the same numbers, almost identical to Jonnu Smith. Not the point. The point being that if this offense was the number 1 offense last year, and if all the pieces are in, they can do kind of the same thing. That's the positive note, is now all the players are back on the field, and then they can win some games.
And how the defense looked last week. With Anthony Weaver's defense has gotten better. They're getting healthier. Yeah. This is a damn good 3 and 6 team. Can you at least agree there?
Damn good.
Of the 2, 3, and 6 teams, it's clearly the better one.
It's got
right?
more hope. That's a good start. Yes. Of the 2, 3, and 6 teams, I can sign up for that.
All right, you're doing better.
They have more hope than the Dallas Cowboys do.
All right.
Yes. I don't know what Tony's doing there with Jonnu Smith and Waddle. Waddle needs to be a good deal better.
That's what I'm saying, but he hasn't been better. But now that Tua's back, maybe he can be better. That's the hope.
Okay.
Right? You're asking for hope. That's the hope.
That's the hope for everyone, yes.
I am asking for hope. I would ask you, Billy, as a Dolphin fan, can you give me the proof that we have that they can beat a single good team? Not just this year.
Well, they beat the Rams.
Not just this year. I mean, the Rams are under 500, Stugotz.
Because the Dolphins beat them and put them under 500.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, but they are under 500.
Okay, so they're going to lose the rest of the games. I don't know what we're supposed to do to convince you, or do, if you don't want to believe in them, don't believe in them.
I asked you a
felt like
direct
we were
question.
close.
I asked you a direct question. Give me the number of times that they've beaten a good team. Not this year. I'm just talking about what's the last time you remember a victory against a good team? Is it the Baltimore fourth quarter game? When a couple
Last
of years ago?
Last year, late in the season, they beat the Cowboys. The Cowboys had a winning record. It's their only win last year against a winning record, I believe.
But, I mean, year to year, it's not the same team. So, what they did 3 years ago doesn't really matter.
Well, but the hope
compared to this year.
The hope
and, we're ignoring the fact that their starting quarterback missed, essentially half of the season so far.
I'm not ignoring it. I'm just saying they've lost.
We are ignoring it. We're completely ignoring it by showing their record.
He's played.
He's 2-3 this year. Tua is 2-3 this year. It's not like he's 5-0 when he plays.
Okay, so he's not 3-6 though.
Okay,
right.
So that is better. Okay, decent.
And what's the point differential when he's playing?
Right,
because we're using all these stats where it's a team that couldn't score anything against it.
How do you break?
We're picking and choosing when it is that we want to credit stats.
Well, the stat I'm using is the record.
Right. And it's a record in which is incomplete with their starting quarterback. He hasn't played in all those games.
I am basing whatever it is they're going to be this year, the expectations for it, on what last year was. And so that is why I'm asking you about the last good team they beat. And you're right, Chris. They beat by a field goal Dallas. Dallas fumbled on the goal line. There are a lot of reasons, but they did. They won the game.
Don't take that from me.
I know. They won the game against Dallas, and it's a game that no one in the national media remembers when they say that's a team and a coach that can't beat anybody good. And now you're in a position. This is the part that, hurts my hope. You're in a position where you're going to have to win 3 road games against good teams because that's all there are in the playoffs.
But to our point, I just need one.
Yeah,
Let me
you just
break
need
this
one.
streak.
Right.
Then that's a good season.
No
Get
one
to the
here
playoffs.
thinks they're going to win the Super Bowl.
Right. They are minus 14 in games that Tua starts this year. Minus 14. 2-3, minus 14. Not bad in the mix.
That's just the math on top of your head?
Yeah. Well, no, I actually went and looked,
I think you have to do what Billy wants you to do there, though, is parse out the numbers, though, in the Bills game when he was playing before concussion and after concussion and make sure, see what the score is there to see if you can get that number to be a little more hopeful. Billy, what are you sour about?
I'm not sour, but you're holding a 24-3 loss against Tua in a game in which he didn't play.
Which one's that?
The 24-3 loss to the Seahawks, the third game of the season.
I'm holding.
That's a 21 point differential that you're holding against Tua when he didn't play, and the week after was 31-12. So you're holding up a point differential as a reason for the Dolphins not being good when their starting quarterback wasn't in the game.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's minus 40 in point differential, and overall they're like minus 57.
That is correct. That is a structural and organizational problem more than it is a quarterback getting hurt problem, because there have been backups this year that have made their teams look more competent.
But that's why there's hope.
All of them.
Because their quarterback is back. So, you hope that their quarterback can kind of help them refine the offense, because headed into this week on Monday, their offense was last in the league in scoring. And last year, their offense was at the top of the league in scoring. So you're hoping that their offense finds it. But the reason their offense was last in the league in scoring is because they had no plan for their quarterback being down, and the people they brought in couldn't run the offense or were afraid to run the offense. You also have Tyreek Hill, who has multiple injuries, so he hasn't looked electric. And also, it seems like people have figured out, hey, just don't let Tyreek get behind us. And what are we going to do? Let Jonnu get 80 yards a game. What difference does it make? As long as Tyreek doesn't get an 80-yard touchdown, it's fine. Bend, don't break, Dan.
Speaking of bend, don't break, is health the reason that you are hoping in the Dolphin offense because of what they showed you against the Rams? Because in 2 of the games you just mentioned, Tua played great, and they lost because their defense allowed Buffalo and Arizona to score more than Tua was scoring, even though Tua was playing fine, playing great, actually.
I mean, Dan, there is reason for hope. In the games that Tua did not play, that team did not score more than 10 points in a game except against New England where they scored 15. Since he's been back, Arizona, they scored 27. Buffalo, 27. Against the Rams, 23. The offense is clearly better.
Agreed. That's not up for any kind of dispute. What I was asking you is about the defense, because you're encouraged by how they play against the Rams. And I'm like, but what about Arizona and Buffalo? Are you just saying they're healthier now because Sealer's back and Holland is back? That's a reason for hope. Those 2 guys are important.
Don't forget about Kader Kohu.
Ooh.
He's not bad.
He played well last game.
He's not bad.
Had a
He's
couple
not bad.
plays.
Good little player. The problem is they don't get any pass rush, right? Their linebackers are slow and can't cover anybody. It almost feels like we're talking about the Hurricanes, too. And the defensive secondary is also not good, right? So you stack all 3 levels of teams not being good in the very important positions on defense, and it's like, oh, yeah, they just allow points to anybody.
Kohu is a reason for hope?
Good little player.
I wrote a poem about the Dolphins.
Oh,
You did?
Shit.
Really?
You did, right? Why are you shitting? You weren't even here earlier this week when he wrote poems. You weren't.
I can already
Get out
tell.
of the
Guys,
way.
lay out.
Oh, lay out. Okay.
In waters deep, where currents flow, the dolphins swim with dreams aglow. Through stormy tides and setbacks past, they rally now. They're built to last. And as the season closes near, playoff hopes grow strong and clear. Debatable.
So's built to last.
A destiny they've chased with might, the Dolphins rise. They're set to fight. That's it.
Why does it feel? Well,
now you know why I went, oh, shit.
Usually you want your poem to just end on the last words as opposed to that's it.
Right.
Just giving you the show back, just letting you know.
But we
Thank
should
you.
know when it's over without you having
That's
to
right.
announce it.
Yes. It shouldn't be because you're tossing me the show back scared because you were drowning in your own spa music.
Stugotz, more muscular.
Mm-hmm. I have lost 10 pounds.
Have you?
Yeah, using my Peloton. I've had the Peloton in my house. So my daughter, she wanted me to get a Peloton.
Yeah.
I did. She used it a couple of times.
Great endorsement.
But once she left to college and the Peloton was just sitting there in my office and it wasn't being used, I said, you know what? I got to use this. And I have lost 10 to 12 pounds, Billy.
So I started using Peloton as a bike. Obviously, that's like what they're known for. But recently, I discovered all of the other classes that they have. So they have like a series of weightlifting classes. They have programs, which for me, the programs is great because I don't have to think about what I'm doing. Because if not, I just go and I pick a class at random and I don't know that I'm actually accomplishing anything.
I would like some recommendations on classes because I keep going to the same class.
Okay.
It's the Grateful Dead class, by the way.
You do like a 4-week core program with Emma Lovewell.
Right.
I would recommend that one.
Okay.
Anyone can do that. Any level starts out, easy, and then you work your way up. And then there's like a core program 2 that you can do after core program 1 if you want to do that. Yeah, if you graduate.
Wait a second. You have to graduate course 1 to get to course 2, the harder course?
Well, you can start at course 2 if you want, but I eased my way in. I did course 1 first. Then you can do some strength classes with Andy. Love a strength class with Andy. He really puts me through it. I get up and I'm like a sweaty mess. And I'm kind of disgusting and I love it. You know anything about Peloton, Stugotz?
What?
Peloton coaches, they walk the walk.
Really?
Yeah.
Do they talk the talk?
They have sub 3-hour marathon runner coaches. They have military trained athlete coaches, former college basketball player coaches, and so many other well-rounded coaches on their team. All this experience really shows in their classes, which are never short of challenging. You can do some resistance band classes. I got some resistance bands lately.
You're my teacher.
Am I?
Yeah.
No, I'm not. Well, I just go with the program so then I don't have to think because I don't know. I don't actually know what I'm doing. Anyways, what's the like Mr. Olympia, right? Is that what it's called?
Yes.
The one where you go and you're like lifting
Tony
like
Atlas.
giant boulders.
Yeah.
Hey, we should talk to Magnus again.
That's Mr. Olympia.
Yeah.
Yes.
What did I say?
Olympus.
Did I?
I don't know.
Anyways, find your push, find your power with Peloton at onepeloton.com.
Don Le Batard.
All right, we got to go back out there. That was big. Wake him up.
He doesn't want to be bothered anymore. Now it's getting tense because he didn't need that as a result. He needs something that happens.
You can see him mother effing on it. Can we bother? Are we bothering you right now?
Turn on your microphone, Greg.
My microphone's on.
Stugotz.
Paint the scene.
Paint the scene is I got to go to work. Good night.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
All right, we've talked enough about the Dolphins here.
Have we?
I think so.
Are you convinced? Or?
No, not really. But while I wouldn't even like their chances against a Houston or a Cincinnati, I'm not going to deny you the hope of you feel like they might have saved their season on Monday night, and maybe they did because 2-7 would have certainly ended it.
Forget about Houston for a second. Let's just focus on the task at hand. And the task at hand is one of the few teams that have less wins than the Dolphins, and that's the Raiders. Okay? Can we focus on that?
We can focus on that.
They probably didn't save their season on Monday, but they won. We can't be happy that they won after they've lost so many games. That's the confusing part. They've lost 3 straight games. They finally won when they looked better.
I am saying that at 3-6, you can actually have the conversation, dumb as it was yesterday, sad as it was yesterday, about are they in the mix because of how bad football is and the AFC is, but you can't really do it at 2-7. You can't really do it when you have the same record as the Raiders. Now, when you ask me to just focus on the Raiders, what ends up happening is, oh my God, I hope Max Crosby doesn't decapitate him. Like, that's when you ask me to focus on the Raiders. I'm like, okay, you guys think that one's easy. All right, you think, the Browns are on the schedule too. You guys think Myles Garrett is going to be easy? Okay, good. I'll go ahead and make sure that that I won't worry at all about Tua's health in those games because somebody can get there in 1.4 seconds.
Just watch football and enjoy it, man. Jesus.
Okay. It's hard to do when they always lose and never win a playoff game and are then 3-6. And I'm surrounded by people telling me, enjoy it, Dan. Enjoy it. Be hopeful.
You could be a Jets fan. I mean,
it's kind of the same, though.
No, it's not. Dan.
It's kind of the same.
It's not
the Jets.
same.
The Jets have been better more recently. The Jets have been playoff good.
I would take the last 40 years of the Dolphins over the last 40 years of the Jets. Yes, you're right. The Jets have been better recently, but I would still take the last 40 years of being a Dolphin fan.
Agreed, but I think I'll take the last 20 years of being a Jets fan.
Oh, I mean, those 2 years. Sanchez years.
Yeah. The ones that had games in the playoffs. The ones
they went to back-to-back AFC championship games. I understand it. It was the best time of my life. But I'm just saying the Dolphins have been to Super Bowls in your lifetime.
It was a long time ago.
We're really at the 40-year mark.
Not
there,
in my lifetime.
1984. Yeah,
a long time ago.
Like the 40 years is basically the same.
Okay, but they went to a Super Bowl.
In 1984. Next year is 41 years.
Okay, but in Dan's lifetime, he has seen that team play in a Super Bowl. Greg Cody has seen his team play in a Super
but we're
Bowl.
Dinosaurs. No one else here has.
I missed it by a couple of months.
No one else here has.
Right, I never have. That's the point.
Neither have we.
Well,
that's the point.
Yeah. I'm not saying you, though, but Dan has.
I am articulating for the audience, the majority of which is younger than I am, and especially among Dolphin fans. I am articulating the frustration of the Dolphin fan who hasn't seen anything good in the last 40 years. And I'm not kidding, man. The Jets the last 20 years have been better.
They have.
I don't put their records up next to each other over the last 20 years because I told you the other day that the teams in the sport to have lost the most since 2017, Stugotz, are the Giants and the Jets. They've lost 85 times. New York football has been the worst in the world over the last 8 years because those are the two teams. But the great laughingstock in the AFC East over the last 20 years of Patriots, Tom Brady, Bill Belichick dominance is that the Jets and the Dolphins have been fighting each other to be shittier than the other. Like they flip-flop Ryan Fitzpatrick. Ryan Fitzpatrick starts with the Bills as part of them arguing about Ryan Fitzpatrick the way that we argued down here about Tannehill. Because every once in a while he makes a great play or throws a touchdown pass, you can convince yourself with all the hope in the world that your quarterback is ready. And then Tom Brady's winning all the Super Bowls, and the division is one of the worst in sports.
To be honest, the Dolphins have actually been 19 games better since 2005. Jets are 127 and 190, and the Dolphins are 146 and 170.
And the playoff records?
It's important.
It's the only reason I'm doing it. Like that's it's a good stat.
I'm proud of you.
It's a good stat. The fact that you're giving me that suggests that every Dolphin season there on average has been better than every Jet season.
I mean, by one game, so it's essentially the same
No,
thing.
but what
Over
Dan-
20 years, 15 games is not even one game a season.
But
They're
Dan,
the same.
What Dan is saying, I think, is he'd rather have the worst regular season record, but make it to 2 AFC championship
I'm just
games.
saying the success in the postseason, memorable games, hope that you might. The Jets they had a halftime lead to get to the Super Bowl. In Denver, they had a halftime lead.
Well, that was back in 97. They had a halftime lead, 10-3 or 10-0 at Denver. Keyshawn Johnson was on that team, and they ended up losing that game. Yeah.
Dolphins are 1-6 since the 2000 playoffs. In the playoffs.
Woof. So let's talk about what happened last night, shall we?
Here's a positive, Dan. Can't lose in the playoffs if you don't make the playoffs. Boom.
Thank you, Billy. That is a good reason for positivity. Erik Spoelstra, was he going to cry yesterday? Did it look to you guys? And I can't imagine that there are a lot of times after a loss that Erik Spoelstra has ever felt worse than that, no matter the stakes in the loss, because it is so very rare for the coach to be that overtly responsible.
That coach.
With a mistake.
Yes.
Any coach, you've got people on your staff that are there to tell you how many timeouts you have. Like, you're paying people for that. In a salary cap sport where things are equal all over the place financially, the places where it is you could get some advantages are, what is your data department? Where are your coaches? What are they doing different than other people? You have people on staff whose responsibility is to tell Erik Spoelstra during timeouts how many timeouts he has left, and at the end of games what the situation is. He doesn't have to keep all that in his head. It is not like somebody did not tell him how many timeouts there were. That's not what happened there. Erik Spoelstra didn't have timeouts, and that's not even by itself. That's not even the only thing that shocked me there, Stugotz. Them getting a dunk at the rim with a second left isn't anything that I'm expecting late in the game, because the play that's been called up from the sideline leaves you for Bam to get dunked on. You're asking Bam to do his job there, but that shot can't be at the rim. That shot's never at the rim with 1 second left, and that happened to them last night.
I think that's what made Spo crazy, right? He must have already heard from one of his guys, hey, we don't have any timeouts, don't call any timeouts, there's 1 second left, let it run. And then he told everybody in the huddle, watch for the back screen, okay? If they throw something at the rim, watch out, don't be the last guy on defense and get screened where somebody's going to dunk over your head. Then it happened, and then his mind exploded. He snapped and was like, timeout, that's it, that's out.
That's right.
He did the Spo move of like, I'm going to walk halfway onto the court, and he's just like, oh, shit.
He just lost it.
Well, that's exactly right. Tone, this is what's so rare, and it hurt me to read like the third and fourth paragraph of the story.
Him losing it is shocking, though. That coach, that guy losing it in that situation is shocking to me.
Stugotz, this one is super interesting to me for a number of reasons. Audience, do you guys know how rage works? Because it'll short circuit your ass. And he was so mad that there was a dunk on the rim on him on 1 second left. I told you guys, you cannot allow that he absolutely misplaced his mind. But the third and fourth paragraph of every story I read on Erik Spoelstra was voted by his peers the best coach in the league. Voted by his peers by an overwhelming margin. The single best coach in the league, and this is he did not sleep last night. This will haunt him for the remainder of his life. I'm not kidding you.
Yes, it will.
Billy, what are you making faces about? Do you understand how this human being cares? What are you making faces about? You don't know what it's like to care like this about anything.
Billy, this is a coach. The reason this feels so bad is Spo cost them the game. There aren't many times throughout
It's the 10th game of the season.
Oh, the pressure.
Billy. But coaches hate it.
The pressure of the in-season tournament.
Well, I know, yeah.
That's right, the
NBA Cup now.
It's only a second one.
Emirates NBA Cup. Now they're going to have to figure out how we get in the group stage into the teams of 4 and then single elimination. It's on Tuesdays and Fridays and the prestigious Emirates NBA Cup.
Let's hear from Spoelstra as he's broken, and you guys tell me if you think he's close to crying here.
I just made a serious mental error, there at the end. That's on That's on me. I feel horrible about it. There's really no excuse for that. I'm 17 years in. We had talked about it in the huddle. I knew that we didn't have anything. I just got emotional and reactive on that, and I just made a horrendous mistake.
I can't ever think of, in basketball, a coach making this type of mistake where they're having this type of sound after the game.
Is he getting younger?
Why do you say, oh, please, Billy? I heard it through the soundproof glass.
This doesn't affect him that much. He'll be fine. I don't understand how this Emirates NBA Cup works. Does anyone? Because, I did a read for it explaining, it's a single elimination tournament. It's Tuesdays and Fridays moving forward. But, then I was looking up, so they're eliminated. They're not going to win the East. It's no, it's the group stage. How does this work? When does it actually start? Because we changed the courts already. So is this the tournament or not the tournament? And when do we get to the single elimination portion of it?
It's very similar to the World Cup, where there's a group stage. You play everyone in your group, and then the best 2 records from each group make it into the single elimination portion of the tournament. It's not that complicated.
LeBron going for back-to-backs, huh?
Yeah, cement his legacy.
Billy, do you have answers to your questions? Do you care about the answers to your questions?
I was trying to find it last night. I couldn't figure out how this actually works.
Nobody likes the courts, right? Nobody likes that, or do people like that? Do people like the courts, the way that it looks?
No.
Are you seeing celebration of the colorful courts? Everybody making a lot of Boise State jokes?
It feels like just a lot. When you're watching the game, I was watching the Heat Pistons game last night, and I was trying to look at it, and I was losing my place. I was looking into the stands. I was looking down. I was like, where am I?
It's better than the red last year. The red last year was really bad.
Burned my cornea.
Yeah.
Just picture Tony in his living room where's the ball?
I'm like, is that Duncan Robinson?
You're CeeDee Lamb in the end zone. You need a Netflix warning before it streams on be careful with lights in the room.
Can't you just do your regular court and put an in-season tournament logo in the middle of it instead of your logo?
Cup logo?
Then you would know. Yeah, whatever it's called.
Call it a day?
Yeah. Put a patch like they used to do with the finals, on a little stamp.
You guys are arguing that the NBA courts are so progressive that they're overstimulating young people?
Yeah.
Kind of like the dripping.
You guys are saying that it's too much. It's not. The Shaq says the NBA is down in viewership. Everyone's taking too many threes. There's just too much going on out there. So now they put the color in there, and young people are out on, look, I know you want to stimulate me. This is too much stimulation.
The issue is I'm looking at my phone, but then I'm also looking at the screen. So when I go from the blue light of my phone to the blue light that's peering through the screen, I kind of get lost for a second. Then I got the second TV that also has a game on, so I'm just like,
The thing is it's bad pandering, right? It's like, oh, let's make it bright and flashy, and that'll get the young people. It's like, no, you know what you need to do to get me to watch the in-season tournament? Bring back the court that they had at the All-Star game that would light up. There was an LED court or whatever, and then put Netflix on there so I can be watching my show on the court while I'm watching the basketball game. That'll keep me interested. I can watch 2 things at once on the same screen.
Roy, why are you shaking your head in sad dismay? Okay.
Just Billy.
All right. Yeah.
Just Roy, come on. You like this in-season tournament in this court? Come on.
It's terrible.
I know you're right down the middle, but you're a basketball purist traditionalist.
Right.
No way you like the blue court.
Oh, I hate it.
Impossible. No way you like this made-up tournament.
I hate the tournament.
Okay,
I hate the courts.
so-
I hate everything about it.
Thank you.
Okay, excellent. Excellent celebration of sports. Good. I'm glad we got there on a hopeful day as I was rooting for hope.
I'm a realist.
Just trying to stay positive, Dano.
I actually like the in-season tournament. I'm going to go. The Heat play the Bucks at home on November 26th. I'm going to go. I'm going to get the Game Time app. I'm going to download it.
Okay.
I'm going to create an account. I'm going to use code Dan for 20% off my first purchase. Terms apply. Download the Game Time app today. What time is it, Tony?
game time.
Stugotz here for my friends over at Simply Safe. The holiday season is right around the corner. That means you're away more, and burglars know it. That means you need to protect your home. Right now, Simply Safe is giving exclusive early access to its Black Friday sale to Batard Show listeners. Simply Safe is the home security I trust to keep my home and family safe. Simply Safe is a new way to protect your home that stops intruders before they break into your home. Old school systems only take action once someone is already inside your home. That's too late. Simply Safe's Active Guard outdoor protection changes the game by preventing crime before it even happens. If someone's lurking around or acting suspiciously, those agents see them in real time, talk to them directly, set off your spotlight, and even call the police before they've had a chance to break in. Simply Safe is offering my listeners exclusive early access to their Black Friday sale. This week only, you can take 60% off any new system with a select professional monitoring plan. This is their best offer of the year. Head to simplysafe.com/DLB to claim your discount and make sure your home is safe this holiday season. Don't wait. This offer won't last long. Keep your home, your family, and your peace of mind protected with Simply Safe. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Folks, the Emirates NBA Cup is here. You can win big getting in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. All 30 teams split into 6 groups every Tuesday and Friday, playing for the right to advance to the single elimination in-season tournament, culminating in the NBA Cup Championship in Vegas. Here's something special just for you. New DraftKings customers can bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code DAN. That's code DAN for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/bball.
Don Le Batard.
Teammates can't shoot from 3. Now they're gonna see a different Jimmy. Now he's just playing Nickelback in the locker room, and
Stugotz.
they'll play D and shoot 3s as they chase the Nets for the 6th seed. These 5 words in his head scream, "Are we winning games yet?"
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
All right, Jeremy Taché is here, and we should go to him because I do want to continue this conversation with Billy and with others, because I don't know the particulars of why it is that Erik Spoelstra got got divorced, and I don't think that
or married.
I don't
lack of love on the other side there.
I do think though that. Those jobs, when you care about them the way that Erik Spoelstra does, makes it very hard for a human being to have any semblance of balance in terms of how it is that they prioritize their time and their time at home because of the demands of the job. And so he cares about what happened last night more than anyone in the world. More than anyone on earth.
More than Riley?
Cares about, yes, because he's single-handedly responsible for doing his job so poorly that it became the opposite of what his job is. Help your players win the game is his job. He did the opposite of that.
How about Jeremy?
Well, we're going to go to Jeremy now, and I don't think that anyone feels worse in the entire world. I don't know why Billy keeps making faces at me as if
because his players don't even care as much as him. They don't play half the season because they don't feel like playing. So why is he going to beat himself up over Game 10 of the regular season?
They get screamed from behind when he told them, don't get screamed from behind.
Right. It's Game 10.
But Billy, I'm telling you.
Get it together.
I'm with Dan on this. A coach costing his team a game, that is not the norm for Erik Spoelstra. And the fact that he made such a colossal blunder in last night's game is going to stay with him for a while. It is.
Yeah, but it shouldn't. It's a regular season game in the NBA where there's, 80 of them. He'll be fine.
What
Get some perspective.
What do you regard as the most publicly embarrassed you have ever been in your life? How many people saw it?
But it's not calling a timeout.
Okay, no, but I'm asking you the most you've been publicly embarrassed in front of everybody because you have so thoroughly failed at doing something is what, and what does it look like? Because you think Erik Spoelstra can walk past the television today and turn it on and watch highlights of him costing them the game? You think he sleeps well last night? You think he doesn't have a hole in his stomach all day today?
No, for a day, but not months from now, not at the end of the year.
You don't think he's going to be embarrassed by what happened there in a way that he remembers very late in life? You don't think that it's going to impact him
I think it shouldn't.
Okay, that's true, but you don't have...
Well, he's right about that.
You're right, but you don't have the priorities the way that a coach has their priorities about how much they care about. That's stupidity. We'll go to Jeremy in a second. I learned this. Billy, you know what's funny about this? The place that I learned this was with Renee Latchman when the Marlins had started a season.
Latch could let things bother him. He was a bad manager.
Thank you for your opinions on this. It's very important that we get them before I get to my story. It's very important that we get all of your opinions on Renee Latchman. Yes,
30 years ago.
Yes, it's important that I not get to the story because we're getting all your memories on how you feel hot take. This is the subject that you want to give us hot takes on. Renee Latchman as a manager. I'm always begging you for hot takes. You never want to give them. Right here before I start my story is where you want to give them. Renee Latchman is 30-31. And I have written a column. You're saying they're 10 games into the season. So they're 61 games into the 1993 season. And I assure you, Renee Latchman not only remembers this, he remembers every game he blew for them that year. I wrote a column questioning about 7 of his decisions in a game. And he comes up to me afterward, and he's pissed. And he's like, "Are you going to do this all season?" And I'm like, "Latch, it's fun and games, baby. It's the entertainment business. Like, we're all watching Fun Time." And he's like, "Do you know how serious this is to me?" And I'm like, "Latch, you're in your underwear. You're in your underwear right now."
Did you really say it's all fun and games, baby?
Yes. Well, I may not have said the baby.
Baby's important, though.
I'm not sure.
Emphasis, yeah.
But my general point was, come on. What about your priorities? We're all fooling around here, Latch.
You called him a coach, didn't you?
Wow. No, I did not.
I think you did.
No.
Yeah.
That was something Stugotz would do.
No,
I had to correct Stugotz on that one. Stugotz called managers coaches, and baseball guys do not go for that.
I trust Roy here. It's $5.
I learned this in 1993 covering a baseball team. You have never covered anything in your life. Let's go out to Jeremy Taché in the spin room. The spin room.
Jesus Christ.
Bona fides. I mean, geez.
Where are we on your reaction to the Miami Heat and the conversation we're having?
Yeah, Dan. I mean, you see an overtime loss to the Detroit Pistons. I say, where were you when they beat Minnesota in the final seconds over the weekend? You see a team that's 4-6, 2 games under 500. I say, hey, they're a game out of the 3 seed in the Eastern Conference. But I want to talk to you about Tyler Hero. Tyler Hero last night, 40 points, 8 assists, 4 steals, and 10 made threes. God, that instructor really needs to stop sweating so much. He's the first player ever to do that in a game. And if you look at his averages for this season, 24.9 points, 5.3 assists, 5.2 rebounds per game, shooting over 50%, over 47% from 3. There are only 6 players ever, Dan, that have started a season with a 10-game span of those stats. It's Tyler. It's Niko Jokic this year. He's, like 8'4", 700 pounds, so it's a little different. Larry Bird, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, and LeBron James with the Heat. Tyler Hero's putting together an all-star campaign, Dan. He's been spectacular. No one's ever had those numbers over a full season. The closest was Steph when he was back-to-back MVPs with the Golden State Warriors.
A lot of thigh.
Yeah, good. You're welcome.
Getting a little too much thigh, I would think.
He goes good.
Good. You're welcome. I feel like I've just been sexually harassed.
You're welcome.
You know what? I'm going to file a complaint.
Are you?
Dude, I've been spinning for 22 minutes. You're going to file a complaint? I should go back on strike. What is this?
Good. You're welcome. After I've complained about your amount of thigh at work.
You just said a lot of thigh. You didn't say it was a good thing or a bad thing. If you said, hey, that's too much thigh, I'm offended, I would have said, oh, I'm so sorry. But a lot of thigh, hey, look.
You thought
some people like it.
You thought it was a positive, what he was saying.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, okay.
I did my job. I look good. I'm sweating a lot.
Right.
I can 21 minutes and 50 seconds now I've been going. Just waiting.
But
we had to redo the conversation on whether or not the Dolphins are any good.
You're right, though, that Tyler Hero was great last night. Great in the fourth quarter. All the more reason this one's going to haunt Spo for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
You guys think I'm
threes
joking?
in the fourth quarter, Dan.
You guys think I'm joking? This one's going to wake up Spo years from now.
The Hero game.
He's going to be in bed.
Oh, what did they
do? You guys think I'm kidding?
Time out!
Season's greetings, podcast audience. It's Mike Ryan, and now is that time of year where you start hosting your family gatherings, be it Thanksgiving, be it the upcoming holiday season. You're going to have some folks in town. You're going to be doing some entertaining. So why don't you make your family time a Miller time? It's the first thing that I roll out when I got guests over at the house, an ice-cold bucket filled with that beautiful white can. See, Miller time makes family time all the more special because, for one thing, it's got taste that you can depend on. No games, no gimmicks, just a great beer for people who like beer. Miller Lite is brewed for taste. It hits different than other light beers. It's got simple ingredients like malted barley for rich, balanced toffee note flavors and an iconic golden color. And at just 96 calories and 3.2 grams of carbs per 12 ounces, Miller Time is always a good time, even during the festive times. Making memories at year-end gatherings tastes like Miller Time. Go to MillerLite.com/Dan to find delivery options near you. Or you can pick up some Miller Lite pretty much anywhere they sell beer. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces. Fewer calories and carbs than premium regular beer.